good day to be Indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Courtney Cup, hitting the cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. We discuss local and national Native news and events, and as you know, Haley, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
Yes, you're absolutely right, Dega. This portion of the show is supported by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, we got a jam-packed show here, and we want to get right away with Rachel Thunder, who is with the Indigenous Protector Movement and just all-around groovy person. I see you all around in the community. Rachel, welcome to Native Roots Radio.
Thank you, Robert. Thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, big happenings coming up very soon. I'd love for you to talk about it and speak your truth about this great event that's happening.
For sure. So this is just kind of a follow-up, and I want to keep coming on to let community know what's going on. So this year, 2023, on September the 12th, Elder Leonard Peltier, who is the longest-held Indigenous political prisoner, will be turning 79 years old. And so to commemorate his birthday and to also keep public awareness and political pressure on the system that continues to hold this elder, the Indian Collective and Amnesty International are co-hosting a caravan that is going to be going from the Jumping Bull Camp on Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota to Rapid City, Minneapolis, Chicago, Pittsburgh, and then into Washington, D.C. for an event and action on September the 12th in front of the White House. So we just kind of want to make sure that everybody's aware of this as this caravan comes through the community. And if you go to Indian Collective's social media handles, they have lots of flyers like the one that's shown on the screen. And I think some new videos that shows the dates that they're coming through these different cities. But here in Minneapolis, the caravan will be arriving on September the 8th at 6 p.m. And the Indigenous Protector Movement, which is our organization, NACD, the Indian Center, gatherings, all of the Little Earth Protectors, all of these different organizations and groups in community have come together to host this caravan as it comes through Minneapolis. So beginning at 6:30 at Cedar Field, just across from Little Earth United Tribes, right there off of Cedar Ave, we are going to be hosting a community feast that's open to community gatherings. Cafe is going to be making all of the food. I think we're having bison nachos as the main food.
Yum.
We're going to have speakers, local drum group, opening prayer and ceremony, and honoring for Peltier and, the people that are making this journey to DC, and to honor them and ask for protection for them. And everybody is welcome. And so just come and enjoy some good food, hear the speakers, and be a part of this historic moment for our elder, Leonard Peltier. Then the caravan is going to stay the night in Minneapolis. And the next morning, anybody who's signed up to participate in the caravan and go to DC, the caravan will leave Minneapolis early the next morning on the 9th and head on to Chicago.
Wow, that's exciting. And remind our audience, too, who Leonard Peltier is. We have new listeners all the time, Rachel, and why it's so important for us to have him out.
Correct. So Leonard Peltier, like I said earlier, is the longest held Indigenous political prisoner. He has been held for nearly 5 decades. There was a period of time on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation known as the Reign of Terror, where the traditional people of the reservation and American Indian Movement members were under attack. They were being assaulted and murdered by a corrupt tribal council, goon squad, and FBI agents. And all of this turmoil kind of led to this pivotal moment of the shootout at the Jumping Bull camp. And at the end of that shootout, 2 FBI agents and 1 Native American man were dead, found dead at the end of that shootout. Joe Stunts, which his death has never been investigated and no one has ever been charged with his murder. But following the death of the 2 FBI agents who were unmarked and in civilian clothes, there were 3 arrests made: Bob Robidoux, Dino Butler, and Leonard Peltier. Bob Robidoux and Dino Butler were both acquitted and found not guilty on the grounds of self-defense, and Leonard Peltier was later arrested and charged with the murder of those 2 FBI agents, even though his 2 co-defendants were found not guilty. So later his charges were changed to aiding and abetting, but then the question stands of who was he aiding and abetting? Himself,
Right.
if his 2 co-defendants were found not guilty. And, to this day, it stands as an injustice. And there's files, and quotes from that period of time saying, oh, any Indian would do. They were just looking for anybody to be an example for that time of what happens to you if you stand up against this system and fight for the people and this traditional way of life. So that's just a little bit of history. There's lots of documentaries. There is Incident at Oglala, and there's another documentary called Warrior, The Life of Leonard Peltier. And I really recommend you check both of those out if you want more information.
Well, one thing, Rachel, I know many people that were involved in the original case, there was evidence suppressed, and I believe that he should not be in prison at all. We have an FBI
Yes.
agent as just recently bringing up the fact that this is something that goes on in the FBI for decades and decades, talking about this in with their new workers and telling them all these lies, and these lies have become truth over the years.
Right. It's this narrative that's passed along to the quote unquote FBI family when you're indoctrinated. I believe the agent that you're talking about is Colleen Rowley.
Yes.
Yes, she spoke at the rally that we had back in February for Peltier this year. But no, you're right. And his case, looking back on it now, there was hidden evidence, tampered evidence, coerced testimonies, like any injustice or something that could go wrong or make this case just be completely thrown out and unjustifiable is there. And yet he still remains in prison.
Well, and when we talk about that, something like this can happen to anyone. And that's another reason why we really need Leonard out of prison. We need justice. And what justice looks like right now is 79 years old. Like you said, just under 50 years of being incarcerated wrongly. We need justice.
Yeah, and you can ask yourself, what does justice look like at this point? Because you have an entire life of a man that you're never going to be able to get back. You have years and moments that he's missed with his children, his grandchildren, and now great-grandchildren. You have years of time missed with community and grounded in ceremony and culture that he's missed. He's missed all of these pivotal moments that we've all experienced collectively throughout Indian country, our triumphs and our hard times. He's missed all of that. How do you put a price on that? How do you say that you can get justice for that? A way to begin to do that is to set him free.
Absolutely. Rachel, Dionne Thunder, Peony Gigi, thank you so much for being on and all the work you do for our community and this special part two of our community, which free Leonard Peltier. Now, Haley says that at the end of every show.
Thank you, Robert, and thank you, Haley.
All right. Hey, up next, Robert Lilligren. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
Unwanted sexting or photos, inappropriate jokes, even tickling or wrestling can feel like a violation. Catcalling, cornering, or groping, getting them drunk or high for sex. Recording sexual acts without permission. Hurting someone because of their sexual orientation. Raping a family member, a child, a date, a friend, a stranger. Purchasing a human being for sex. You make the choice every single time. Sexual violence is many things. Make a choice. Do not do it.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
J&S Bean Factory is a Native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Now, more than ever, we are being faced daily with the topic of human mortality, and for many people, estate planning has been top of mind. Getting your estate planning done now can be easy and cost-effective. Schroman Law offers virtual options for initial consultations so that new clients can safely initiate the process. With many facing uncertain financial situations, Schroman Law also offers affordable fees for legal documents. Learn more at schromanlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
J&S Bean Factory is a Native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
This is Leonard Peltier. I am in Coleman 1, U.S. Penitentiary, and I'm listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Development Institute in Minneapolis.
Hey, our guest here today on this great, beautiful Thursday. You've been hearing me complain about the weather for the last month, but this has been a perfect day. Robert Lilligren, CEO of the Native American Community Development Institute here in the Twin Cities in Minneapolis. And Robert, always good to see you. Always great to chat with you. Welcome.
Yeah, bonjour, miigwech, Robert. And Haley, so good to see you today. Can't wait to see you down at the market again one of these days.
Very
Forces
soon.
Farmers Market. Yeah, and the American Indian Cultural Corridor.
Very soon. I know. What a great day today. Imagine perfect weather.
It was perfect weather. The market kind of fluctuates in size, and we go through a little shrinkage at when school starts. Some of our participant vendors are students or teachers and things like that. And so it was a nice size today. Robert Rice from Powwow Grounds, who's usually out there making and selling fry bread as part of the market, is up ricing this week. So he wasn't vending. So that created a little more space for others. And yeah, it was such a nice day. It was such a good scene. It is the place to see and be seen on the American Indian Cultural Corridor on a Thursdays, I'll tell you.
Yeah, well, Haley and I do know that. We enjoy coming out there and talking to you, and also the coffee from the Powwow Grounds is excellent, and all the other kind of drinks. And then, of course, you have the art gallery there, which is always just great to stroll through, no matter what the temperature is.
I think you're right. And I think, Robert, you and Haley are kind of scene makers. So when you show up there, it's a scene. So, and then today at the end of the market, it was pretty cool. We kind of just flipped it over and set it up a little different. And we were partnering with the Boys Fort Reservations Urban Office, and they were doing a family event, and they had live music, someone that came down from up north, who everyone seemed to know. I didn't know him, but and they had food, and they gave away school supplies. And so it's just a parking lot right outside of our tiny little building that houses Powwow Grounds Coffee Shop and All My Relations Arts Gallery and our offices. But man, does that space get used?
Definitely, and I've always said we should do a GoFundMe and get that parking lot covered for the winter because I miss community sometimes. I know we have a lot of powwows, indoor powwows during the winter, but I miss community, and that's a great place to gather.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I love that idea. And you should talk to John Williams, our Vice President of Development at NACD, because he loves hearing ideas like that, the big capital projects and how to raise money for them. So you guys should hook up on that. And then, yeah, your guest right before here, Rachel was there, Rachel Dionne
Mhm.
Thunder. She's around the market pretty much all day. Where NACD is in one of her other roles with the protectors, of course. NACD is just signing on to support them as a fiscal agent, and that's moving really quickly. It had to be, yeah. So it's just great to see young leaders like that, stepping
Well,
up and being on the show.
well, not only that, I feel like she's a doer, and I know you are a great mentor for doers, and being a fiscal agent like that is really fits right into your game plan.
I think she's a doer as well. I think she's probably more mentoring me, or maybe we're peer mentoring. But I will say this, we are kind of figuring out how to partner and play more and more. I think of this as sort of an inside outside game, and when we look at people's different roles they play, and, sometimes Rachel's inside a group of people that I don't have access to, and, I can support her strategies there, or, I have a lot of access in government for a native
Hmm.
guy, and so I can use that inside outside game for that kind of access too. And more I'm kind of framing a lot of my work as the inside outside game.
That's cool. I think one of the things that's coming up now in any young Native person that's thinking about running, because we have Arvina Martin, who's a former Madison City Council on every week now, and she's Ho-Chunk, which even makes it better. She's in Wisconsin Emerge, which helps women candidates run for office. And I know
Mm.
you're huge in mentoring because of your vast experience. And truth be told, you helped me with my campaign as a legislator of Ho-Chunk Nation. And you're going to have your hands full this next election, I think.
It should be easier. It's the
You
first
think?
one that's supposed to be the
You
hardest,
think?
unless you misbehaved. But no, it was an honor to be asked, Robert, and I love working with developing candidates, especially in BIPOC communities, especially women. And and the further I get from kind of the active campaign world, maybe the less of that I do. Although I am helping a city council member candidate right here for this cycle in Minneapolis. But what I really liked about working with you, Robert, was that you listened to me and you did what I told you to. And
Right.
you'd be amazed how many people don't. So I'm happy to help all the people who will, you don't have to take my advice, but if you're not going to take it, it kind of makes me wonder why I'm giving it.
Right. Well, I used to have somebody ask me my opinion all the time about certain things. Somebody I worked with as a teacher, and they always did the opposite. So I started to get a little complex.
Right. So then you could be kind of trickster, right? You could give
Yeah.
them the opposite
Right.
advice, and then they'll do, what you think is right.
I don't think I was
It's,
that smart. I think I was more befuddled.
See, that's me. That's how I'm always thinking. It's
Right
strategic.
on.
3
Right.
conversations ahead.
Well, what's happening locally? I know there were some things happening in Minneapolis with our homeless. Some people are
Oh,
not happy with that. There's
yeah.
only, and yeah, what happened and what did you see?
Well, there's just been a lot happening lately, and
Yeah.
kind of nothing happening, right? And so,
Hmm.
uh, back in 2018, there was a highly visible, very high concentrated population encampment, primarily our unsheltered Native relatives, especially at first, but it was a fairly diverse community. And it was right along a highway, right on the American Indian Cultural Corridor. It was very clear that Native people were coming to a place they felt was home or community, but in this crappy little strip of highway right away on an entrance ramp, some 300 tents went up,
Right.
some over 200 people living there, and it freaked everyone out. and it was right on a highway that had tens of thousands of cars going on it every day, right along our light rail, which had tens of thousands of riders going by it. And so it was an occupation, right? And it was highly visible. And for about 5 minutes, the broader community could not ignore the plight of our unsheltered relatives. And it really mobilized a lot of the Native orgs to take care of our communities, literally our relatives, when no one else was really doing anything or much. And so now I think what you're alluding to is now 5 years later, no one's really done anything or much as we continue to scramble in the local Native community and orgs to care for our relatives. So there was a reoccupation of that same piece of land, of the Wall of Forgotten Natives, and they cut fences and rapidly put up 20 tents and occupied that. And then it's the state property there, MnDOT, Minnesota Department of Transportation. So then state troopers came and cleared the camp, and the optics of that are horrible. I mean, people went peacefully and everything, but it just really lifted it up for everyone standing around 5 years later, and nothing has changed.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. That's sad. And again, we have these sayings or cliches like we haven't been homeless since 1491, and I think people want to make sure that we're not blaming the victims of this homeless thing. And I think that's where some people, including the press, go right away.
Right. And I remember early on during the Wall of Forgotten Natives in 2018, some of the Native organizational leadership was invited down to the city council to testify in front of their committees about what we were doing and the conditions and things. And I remember saying, let's do what you kind of just said, Robert, and let's kind of look at the root causes. And for centuries, there's been government-sponsored strategies of genocide and cultural annihilation and forced assimilation. And I said, if those are your objectives, congratulations. This is what your success looks like. Now we're left to take care of our relatives and to clean up the messes you've created. And so I think that's just a fundamental piece of truth-telling that we need to put out there so we can move on to the next conversations. And I, for someone, who doesn't provide direct services to our relatives, I find myself in many discussions, tables, circles, and conversations about how to adapt the system so that people can really not just have a shelter, but they can live a fulfilled life. They can move in the direction they want to move in. And I started my day today in a meeting with community, planning around these efforts every day this week. I've been in multiple conversations, sometimes with government officials, often with community, sometimes both, other Native orgs. It's a crisis, and I feel like the Native community is stepping up and trying to improve the system.
Absolutely. And I knew you'd have some good words about that, because I don't know if I was out of town or what was going on, but I appreciate your update on that. Hey, we got another segment with Robert Lilligren, Native American Community Development Institute, White Earth Ojibwe citizen, here on Native Roots Radio. We'll be right back after this short break.
Stay with us. Be a vaccinative. It's time to come together and talk about the urgent need to stay up to date on COVID-19 vaccinations to protect our heritage, our loved ones, and our future. Throughout history, we have always faced challenges, and today we must protect our culture and loved ones. This is our opportunity to ensure that our tribal gatherings once again resound with joy and celebration, where the echoes of our ancestors guide our steps. It's a chance to care for our elders, cherishing their wisdom and stories for generations to come. COVID-19 vaccines are safe and effective. Let us unite, resilient as ever, and show the world the strength of the Native American community. Together, we shape a future where our traditions thrive, our children learn from our ancestors, and our people flourish once more. So be a vaccinative and learn more about staying up to date with your COVID vaccinations at health.state.mn.us. That's health.state.mn.us. This message is brought to you in partnership with the Minnesota Department of Health.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Hi, I'm Scott Shamblot from Shamblot Family Dentistry. We're the fear-free, shame-free dental office. If you're having a dental emergency, we'll try and get you in the same day you call because we don't like to see anyone in pain. And we'll help you get through every appointment in the most pain-free way possible. As my daughter Rachel says,
if you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get.
Shamblot Family Dentistry in Hopkins and St. Paul. Find them online at shamblotfamilydentistry.com or call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH.
Outfront Minnesota is the state's largest LGBTQ plus advocacy organization, and they're celebrating our state's accomplishments protecting our LGBTQ plus neighbors. This is especially important as surrounding states are passing legislation targeting our trans community. But here in Minnesota, we made it clear, you belong here. Minnesota's LGBTQ plus rights have taken a significant step forward with the conversion therapy ban and the trans refuge bill, helping reshape the national discourse. The trailblazers who once championed same-sex marriage a decade ago continue propelling Minnesota towards an even brighter future. To celebrate these accomplishments, Outfront Minnesota is hosting their annual gala where we bring in together more than 700 guests at Allianz Field on Thursday, September 14th. The event celebrates a year of legislative wins while honoring diverse communities propelling Minnesota forward into next year. Again, that's Thursday, September 14th at Allianz Field with a dinner at 6 and party at 8. So come celebrate Minnesota's progress on LGBTQ plus rights and order your tickets at outfront.org.
Hi, Matt McNeil for Rudy Luther Toyota. You've heard me talk about the Rudy Luther Toyota We Buy program. Now hear from someone who's actually done it, me. Our kids' car, the 2006 Toyota Sienna, served us well for 17 years, but it was finally time to say goodbye. The We Buy program is really simple. I gave them some basic information, we set up an appointment, and after a quick verification, they gave me an estimate and a check, and they made me a generous offer. It was that fast. See for yourself. Try the Rudy Luther Toyota We Buy program at rudyluthertoyota.com.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Partly cloudy tonight with a low of 66, then hot sunshine Friday with a high of 91.
Warner Stellian delivers appliance savings on a stick you won't find anywhere else. Earn a bonus for each additional appliance you buy for up to $1,000 back. Plus, pay no interest for 2 years. Shop smart with the specialists at Warner Stellian.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by J.S. Bean Factory off Randolph Avenue in St. Paul, bringing you only the best coffee roasted to perfection.
Wow, that was a good read there, Haley. Good one. Hey, Robert, we get weekly updates from the governor of the great state of Wisconsin, Governor Evers, and I wonder if we can just play it and then you and I can comment on it.
Love it.
Let's do it.
Hey there, Native Roots Radio. Governor Tony Evers here with my weekly update. Across our state, kids, parents, and families are gearing up for the new school year. Educators, staff, and administrators are busy getting classrooms and schools ready to begin a new year of teaching, empowering, and inspiring our kids. I spent most of my life fighting for our kids in our schools, first as a science teacher, then as a principal, superintendent, and state superintendent. And doing what's best for our kids is why I decided to run for governor. The back-to-school season is one of my favorite times of year. Each school year presents a new opportunity for educators and students alike to grow, to learn, and to create new connections. And my advice to all of you is this: make the most of it. You only get to be a 4th grader, an 8th grader, or a senior once, and if you're an educator, you only have this group of kids once. So have fun, challenge yourself, try new things, work hard, and let's make it a great year, folks. Thank you and take care. Back to you, Robert, and Native Roots Radio.
Wow, thanks, Governor Evers. Good points there, Robert. We had some really good legislation this year, a bill on teaching Native American history to educators who will in turn teach it to their students. So again, it's a new day here in Minnesota, and Minnesota's been like the beacon in many things that they've done in our government this past session.
Yeah, it was amazing, right? And so for folks who aren't from Minnesota, we have all three branches of our governor's office, our state senate, and our state house are all controlled by Democrats. And they legislated for efficiency this last session, and it was just a banner year. So much good legislation, people-centered legislation got passed. Things like the American Indian Education work that's kind of always been on the books, but there's never been sort of the public support, the public sector support to enforce the laws and to create the curriculum and to get it really into our schools. And I think we're in a place where people in our state want to learn more about the true history of our state. So that's good too. But yeah, this is a great year to be a Minnesotan, and I think Minnesota will stand out as a beacon to the rest of the country in 2024 when you see what unified government can achieve, and it's a great story.
Yeah, and like you were alluding to, we have another session coming up here soon, so let's see what can happen. And I was always taught, because as a young person, Robert, I was like a bridge burner with a flamethrower. And I was always taught, or I was taught lately, I should say, from my wife, from her political stuff with sacred animals across the state, is that, you can't do that with any politician or anyone's working with you. You have to really go to the next battle, and hopefully you win and get support from that. And so I've learned a lot over the years, and I've learned a lot talking to you, Robert, too, about not being a bridge burner.
Yeah. Well, and I think I was with you. I was more of a bomb thrower, anti-establishment, but then thinking strategically. Sometimes you're just fighting to live another day, right? To fight another day. I just had unusually on the Metropolitan Council, where I'm a regional representative, we have a controversial issue, and I found myself having to just survive one debate and vote so I could have the next one, and then technology. We all play roles, right? We need those direct action people. Rachel Thunder is a great direct action person. She can organize like crazy, and if we are all in a unified strategy, not even necessarily all agreeing, but if we're in a unified strategy, then the direct action, the protests and things, then support the legislation or the boardroom conversations and things. And I think we've had so many examples here just in the last few years of how effective our community can be when we're using a unified strategy, when we're delivering a unified message, even if we're in our different segments within the community. If we're all supporting each other, we get stuff done.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess what I was kind of alluding to too is that, if I don't get support on a certain thing that I'm looking for, the next battle or the next thing that comes up, I might get support, and then I don't want people mad at me because I burned their bridge down with a flamethrower. Wow.
Well, no, it's true. And I was taught very early in my elected life by a wiser, more experienced elder politician that there's never, her words were, there's never a last act. I can never treat our conversation like this is the last conversation we'll ever have. I have to be treating you with enough respect that there's still a tether into our next conversation. And that was a great lesson for me to learn. And now I just kind of do that naturally. And sometimes, disagreements get heated. Right. And I have to feel and be and express in a way that I'm not burning a bridge. I'm not severing a tie. I'm willing to have the next conversation. And then some people in the community see that as selling out, right? Oh, you're willing to sit at the table with that person? It's like, yeah, because somebody's got to be. And I
Right.
need your support when I go into these risky conversations. And I'll support you when
Yeah.
you're, cutting fences and occupying land that needs to be done. So that's that
Yeah.
inside outside that I was referring to earlier in the last segment. We
Yeah,
all have our
definitely.
roles.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. A really good point. Geez, I just learned something. That good analogy that you just gave. That's awesome.
It's so funny. I never even realize what I'm saying, Robert. I'm just blabbing. So I'm glad you're finding it
Do
useful.
do you remember the years ago when we used to plan what we were going to say when we did the 2 hour show on
Right.
Saturday? It's like,
Yeah,
okay, I'm just going to stop taking notes. Robert's just talking and asking
right.
me questions.
Right.
No
Yeah.
prep.
No, it's very spontaneous, much more spontaneous.
Well, I got to just say, the people that we've talked to at the fair, many people have come to the fair that listen to this show, and they like that. I think they're used to maybe things, they like the contrast of maybe beating the news into their head to our conversation. So I appreciate
Yeah.
people telling me that because it's a down home kind of conversation we have here on Native Roots Radio.
It's so funny. Last Thursday at the Four Sisters Farmers Market, there was a table of elder women. Roya Taylor was there, and a couple of
Hmm.
her friends. And Roya calls me over. Robert, these women want to meet you. And they go, we listen to you on the show radio all the time, and we love it so much. And of course, we weren't on last week, and you were busy with the fair.
Hmm.
But yeah, you had some fans there last
Yeah.
week.
Well, and two, we're gonna have some of those rainbow resist shirts left over, I think, at the fair too. Maybe we should bring them to the
Nice.
market and
Yeah.
sell them there because yeah, we've got some really good designs. Have you been out to the fair yet?
I haven't, and I was kind of tentative about it, and now that it's going to be boiling hot,
A
I
million
probably won't go
degrees.
out there now. It's going to be a million degrees, but I will take another rainbow resist shirt. Or I know other people that would love them. They're
Yep.
beautiful. You should bring them around the market someday. I bet you
Yeah.
could sell
I
some.
think I
But
think we will
yeah,
bring them by too, and
yeah.
some regular resist. And we have a new design, Sage Against the Machine, which is
Oh
a
yeah, are you
takeoff
wearing
of.
that right? No, no.
No, I'm wearing. What am I wearing? This is from a walk, Ho Chunk walk. So that's like
Okay.
Darth Vader with a lot of native designs
Oh.
inside it.
Yeah,
But
I was
yeah, and
just reading in the news this week that in Canada, the government has put out travel warnings for LGBTQ people to the US. That there's
wow.
areas that it's not safe to travel. I know. It really freaks me out as a two-spirit person. And in Canada, they don't say LGBTQ plus, they say 2SLGBTQI plus. And the 2S is two spirit. So
Hmm.
that's the first thing they acknowledge, and it feels so different than what's happening here in some parts of the US.
Well, thank goodness, one, we live in Minnesota, and two, that we are in uh, the Twin Cities, which is a very good place to live, and all kinds of people live here, and I wouldn't
Hmm.
have it any other way. It's like there's only one other place I would live. I think it was Madison, Wisconsin. I loved Madison, but they're a
Oh,
college town and
sure.
they're diverse too.
Right. Yeah. Nope. We are in a nice pocket of progressive, thinking.
Well,
Although we're kind of, yeah, a
during
split
elections,
state.
I
Yeah.
always like to say I'm glad land can't buy because the farther away you get away from the taller buildings, the less
Right.
progressive people are. So it's
Right.
like you look at the big dots, but there's a big dot here in the state, and it's like, well, 100 people live there, and land can't buy, so
Right.
whatever, or vote. I
Yep.
mean,
Yep. No. And it's where the people live. Right. That's where the
yeah.
votes are. Elections are a numbers game.
Well, what do you got coming up here? We got like a minute left, and again, I always forget
Oh,
to ask you ask you this question:
yeah.
what you want to
Right.
talk about?
Right. Well, there was just some cool things that went on here in the community this week, and that have to do around power building and things like that. There was a great community tour that the Minneapolis uh, health director, Department of Health director, walked the community and met with community people and saw firsthand what's going on and where the encampments are and where the fences are up. And Then he joined the community at All Nations Church, which I know you know all.
Yeah.
There was a Metropolitan Urban Indian Directors meeting there. It was very well attended. We had our police chief, the Minneapolis police chief, who's still relatively new. And a lot of these executive people, like the health director or health commissioner, rather, the police chief, are new arrivals to Minneapolis. And so they don't, the Native community, as well organized and empowered as ours is not what they're used to. And so we have to teach them, pay attention to us. We matter. We're partners. We've got solutions. So come and listen.
We're still here. We
are still here.
That's it. Robert, thanks a lot for stopping in. Really appreciate our conversations. And I miss seeing you at the last couple of weeks at the powwow grounds and the Four Sisters Market. I will be back, and I know Haley will too.
Great. See you soon.
Right on. Hey, you're listening to Native. Right on. Listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. Up next, we have Trish Cook, comedian. Ho!
Stay with us.
Minnesotans age 65 plus might qualify for Health Partners Minnesota Senior Health Options. The plan includes personal support, coverage for medical, prescription drugs, and dental, plus over 30 extra benefits. Eligibility information is available at healthpartners.com/oneplan. Health Partners is a health plan that contracts with both Medicare and the Minnesota Medical Assistance Medicaid program to provide benefits of both programs to enrollees. Enrollment in Health Partners depends on contract renewal.
You work hard for every cent you make. You have bills and you have goals. Choose a bank that's going to support you along the way. That's Fair Financial Banking. No overdraft fees, no minimum balance. No credit score required. Call 651-262-2173 to talk to a Fair Financial enroller to open your account today. Keep more of your money. That's fair. Fairfinancial.org. FAIR is a program of Prepare Plus Prosper, a nonprofit organization, and is not a bank. Banking services are provided by Sunrise Banks N.A., member FDIC.
Back to school season is here. And while this is an exciting time for parents, kids, and educators, let's not forget how far we've come in our battle against COVID-19. We're in a better place, but COVID-19 is still here, and we need to continue to help protect our communities. With the flurry of new schedules and classrooms, let's not overlook the fundamentals of staying safe. Wash your hands regularly and watch for any symptoms like fever, chills, a cough, or shortness of breath. Should you or someone you know have COVID-19 symptoms, stay home and get tested. Find more tips on continuing to be safe at health.state.mn.us. Let's have this back-to-school season be a time of renewed commitment to our collective health and brighter future for our Native communities. Again, find more tips on continuing to be safe at health.state.mn.us.
This message is brought to you in partnership with the Minnesota Department of Health.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Wow, Haley, just a couple days ago, we had like 4 people howling, or was that was that yesterday?
I think that was yesterday. We had a whole pack of us, yes.
Oh, good one. A pack. Hey, we are back now, and we have Trish Cook, who is a comedian, citizen at Red Lake Nation, and our new friend here on Native Roots Radio. Trish, are you there?
I am here. Hello, Robert.
How's it going?
Hi, Haley.
Hey.
I hear
Doing all right. How about yourselves?
Doing great. I hear rumors you're at the fair.
I am on my way there. I'm not quite at the fair yet, but I will be on the fairground shortly.
And are you doing anything other than...
I was working today. My schedule got a little wonky.
Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate you stopping in. I was on a different station with Roya a few days ago, and I wanted to amplify what's going on with you because I heard some really good things. You got some comedy shows coming up.
We do. going to be at the Sheldon in that is coming October, and that'll be with Jim Rue and with Rob, the Res Reporter Fairbanks. And then I'm going to be in Denver in a couple of weeks doing a showcase there, so that's going to be good. And comedy, the original Ojibwe Trio, we're going to be back at the Parkway Theater in January.
Well, I got to make sure I get a press pass for that because that sold out last time, and heard nothing but great things.
Yeah. So we're hoping for the same this year.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be an annual event for all us to come down and hear some good inside jokes and also some just all-around humor.
I hope so, yes.
It will be. So what else is shaking here?
Well, we've been at the fair a couple of times this week, which has been wonderful. Was there all day on Sunday for Indigenous Peoples Day at the fair, and that was really an awesome event and really great to be a part of. I saw you there quite a bit. Really, really fun day. So did that, and can't think of a better way to spend a day at the fair, really. That was awesome.
That was awesome. You did a great job. And again, one thing I want to say too before we lose you today is how can people reach out to you if they're looking for a funny Native MC or want to book you?
Sure. They can find me at heytrishcook.com. And all of my social media is under Hey Trish Cook as well.
Hey, Trish Cook. I love it.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, definitely.
What's that?
Oh, no, I said definitely. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we've got the website up and going, and there's a form that people can fill out if they have questions at all.
Exactly. So what else do you do? You run a few of those trivia contests. I was hoping that you'd have a trivia question for me, but I know you might have to look those up, so I don't want to do that to you. But
I do have one for you.
Okay.
Has the most shoreline.
You're going to have to say that again.
What city in Minnesota has the most shoreline?
St. Paul. Boy, the anticipation. I think we lost Trish.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Google that quick. Trish, I think we lost you.
No?
Trish?
Not quite.
No? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Was it right? Was I right? St. Paul? Oh, we lost Trish. Well, she's out there doing her thing, and we're glad to have her stop in for just a minute. Haley, you were out there Sunday, and she did a great job emceeing at the State Fair. That's no easy task to be looking at thousands of people looking back at you, and she was hilarious and kept the show running. What else do we got going on here? We're doing a rebroadcast tomorrow because everybody's going to be on vacation here a day early, including us now.
Yeah. We got a long weekend. Hope everyone's going to be doing something fun, celebrating kind of the weekend that usually wraps up everyone's summer. I know the fair is going to be wrapping up, and we got here in the Twin Cities. I know Pearl Jam is in town, and they're preparing for their first concert tonight, and then I'll be at their second one Saturday. So really looking forward to that.
Where's that at?
I believe that's the Xcel Energy Center, I want to say.
In St. Paul?
Yeah. Yep.
Very cool. So you don't really, when you buy like a ticket to a concert, you really don't care where it's at until you go? Is that what you're telling me?
No, if it's a bucket list band or something, I'll always be there, no matter what.
Well, they're awesome, and they have one of their players, one of the guitar players. I don't know the band's members very well, but he has his own nonprofit organization, and what his nonprofit does is put skateboards on reservations. And it's just amazing. And because of skateboarding and I was never a skateboarder. I'm too old for that. But it is a community. It makes community. And so that's the whole thought process behind that. I don't remember his name, but good ups to a Pearl Jam. And I remember they always fought Ticketmaster too, where Ticketmaster would just kill people with the prices of tickets, and they didn't like that. And they got out of the loop, and people stopped paying MTV, and people stopped playing their music, but their fans and are still their fans, and they're still around doing great music.
Yeah, absolutely. And then tonight also, if you don't have tickets to the Pearl Jam concert, if you're in town near the cities, NAC, Native American Community Clinic, has their full moon ceremony tonight, which begins at 8 o'clock. And again, that happens at 2501 Cedar Avenue South, Minneapolis.
Well, I just have to say this is going to be Labor Day, and I feel like us here at Native Roots Radio and across Turtle Island on AM 950 and Civic Media and all our other affiliates out there, we just want to say we really appreciate the partnership and how you've amplified so many Native American voices over these past years with Native Roots Radio. I know we've been on the air it was January, the first Saturday of January in 2017. So we are just feel really blessed here to be able to bring our truth to the masses.
Yeah, and support and highlight and give a platform to a lot of great Native American organizations in the community that does so much just above and beyond for our relatives and our friends. So
yeah, really good point. And Haley, you're on some kind of anniversary too. This has got to be like how many months you've been with us?
Good question. Good question, Dega. I believe it was
forever,
since the beginning of May. So yes, probably.
May,
yeah.
June, July, August. All right. Well, 4 months. Happy anniversary.
Thank you, Pinagigi.
Right on. It's been really great. Working family's not always the best, but this has been working out really well. And I think a good thing that it's been working out really well is that you are at your studio and I'm here at mine, and we never get into any kind of conflict.
Maybe.
Exactly. Hey, if you're listening to the show, you are part of the resistance from Chief Plenty Coops. The ground on which we stand on is sacred ground. It is the blood of our ancestors. We need to resist, divest, join a group, run for office, vote. We're still here. We are the 7th generation.
And free Leonard Peltier now.